80% off worked like mad, and they were able to end up growing like hotcakes to 135, maybe 140 million now, just because they were able to use that opportunity.
We got a lot of younger folks listening to this who are more like digital based. Remnant ads being, I see this a lot in our legal space, like a TV station can't sell all their ads. They're willing to part with their unsold space, but you can't always like plan it and say, I want it to run
No,
through
it's last minute. It's last minute, but it doesn't really matter. But here's a very important. We have as a client the largest specialty company in timeshare contract cancellation. When I met them, they were doing 40 million. Now they're doing 130 million, and the whole genesis of that growth was they wanted to do radio and television, but every time they tried paying full rate, it never worked.
Right.
But full rate doesn't work, but 80% off worked like mad, and they were able to end up growing like hotcakes to 135, maybe 140 million now, just because they were able to use that opportunity. There's tons of opportunities out there. There's acquisitions. When, if you think about it, weaker companies that start breaking even or losing money, if they're lifestyle, if they're independent, the owner's working his or her ass off to make nothing. If you contact him or her and you consolidate that business into yours, and you get rid of duplicated functions, you can pay that person more for doing nothing than they're making for a business that's going down the tubes. You can figure out what people buy before, during, after, instead of what you sell. I mean, I can go on and on, but if you have an agile mind and you're strategically motivated and you're not wedded to reactive mindset, a downward market is one of the most screamingly lucrative opportunities in the world if you have the right mental mind set and you look at it strategically and ethically, opportunistically.
I would love for you to share with us, because you are probably, in my opinion anyways, the greatest strategic mind on earth when it comes to business growth and mindset and marketing and all those things, of how Jay Abraham thinks about kind of exponentially growing a business. Because a lot of this, like, to me, is when you're thinking preeminence and things like that, is you're thinking like 2, 3, 4, 5 steps in advance, where most people are very just tactical on the surface, like, hey, I'll send a letter in the mail and see what happens, very reactively. I would love to know how you approach a company when you actually think about growing it strategically, and where your mind goes to, because you're
Well, if I give you a couple of stories, but they're going to be historic, but anybody in their right mind who's got any ability to extrapolate could see applications to them. But I'll tell you two really great ones that are true. And I had a role in both of them, so they would probably help out. So the first one happened many years ago because I was involved in the newsletter industry when it first started out. It was a bunch of very bright people who were not good marketers, but they were good economic thinkers and investment and analysts and stock pick, but they couldn't market very well. And I had a company that I started helping that was a gold brokerage. People don't know this. Young people don't know this. Today you can buy gold, but gold was illegal for many years. They illegalized it, then they legalized it again in 74 or 5, and then people started selling it. And I will tell 3 strategic stories. We'll tell 2 that are really good. And I had this client that was selling gold. It was a gold brokerage. And all the competitors, when it first became legalized, Frankie, were running ads in the Wall Street Journal and Forbes, a newspaper business section. And that was reaching a small fraction of the readership was of interest in gold at that time. But I said to my client, well, why don't we go? I mean, I'm going to stop. Would everybody know who Gary Halbert was?
I sure hope so, but if they don't, I'll put some notes on this interview so they know.
So Gary Halbert used to, and this is an ADD rogue intervention moment, and then I'll come back to my story. Gary Halbert, who was a famous and a very, very brilliant copywriter who died, had a story he would tell all the time. He would say, if you and I were going to go into the restaurant business anywhere you wanted, your city, my city, any city, and each of us got a chance to have one advantage, what would you want?